Alright y'all, today I will be installing the eBay Chinese harness. It's a generic harness. You could get it anywhere for like $200 to $300. Cheap eBay Chinese one. Also going to be installing this. This is a new this for the transmission. I need a new one. The one on the 60E broke. As well as this is a 95 truck, so I will be using the off the original harness. These also will be using for the AC unit, the original wiring for that. You should also be using your original oil pressure unit. This is from the stock OBS harness. That's the LS harness. Keep that to the side for now. Here it is for your tack. This little sensor that went underneath the for the 350 TBI. This, it shouldn't be connecting anything. That is what you're gonna use for your tachometer. This single wire right there. See what else we got. Oh, you want to go ahead and keep all your grounds, all your positives. Make sure everything's connected towards the end. Let's see. Another ground. Grounds. Coolant gauge right here. Here it is, coolant gauge. The coolant one should be on the block, just like over here on this side. Obviously you're gonna need a 3-wire prong. I do have that, the 3-wire sensor and a 3-wire prong. Let's see what else. For your power steering, you want to use the LS ones, because see these OBS. Let's see what I got going on here. Okay, for the return is just a hose clamp, so that's pretty straightforward. I went ahead and connected this one already. This one has been cut sadly, so I need to go to junkyard and get one from the LS. So I'll go ahead and connect it to this one. See this one, no matter what, it cannot go back there. So don't use the OBS lines, use the power steering off the LS. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, 2 sensors, you need to go ahead and buy them separately. Not a lot of people talk about it. You have to buy them separately and make sure they adapt to your LS harness, so it communicates to the LS 411 PCM computer, not to the dash. Let's see what else. Oh, for your speedometer, you're gonna need this, the VCSS off the OBS harness. This you have to cut and splice into the Chinese harness. So the Chinese harness is gonna have its own for the 60E, and this one you have to cut and splice into. This one is not needed. This one I believe is not needed as well. These the Chinese harness does not come with these, so you want to go ahead and use them. So after you go ahead and put everything all in, make sure you ground it with the spot back here behind the head. You can ground it there. That's where I'm gonna ground it, behind the block, right back here. And then oil pressure, you do need a special little adapter, because it is metric, I believe, on the LS block. You need a certain little adapter, the sensor that it came with, and it'll be poking out in this direction. Obviously this video is just going to be me laying out the harness, see where everything's going to go. The next video will be me cutting and splicing everything that where all needs to go, because it is already getting late. It doesn't look like it's getting late on camera, but it is pretty dark. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving too. Oh, and also the brake booster, obviously you're gonna have to take this off as well. Use the LS one. However, I'm gonna do that. Obviously I leave it on just because the, like I said, the brake pedal, you will need a different brake pedal. You need one from 99 up, Silverado, basically off the swap. You don't need that. Obviously I need to go find one. What else? This will not be needed anymore. I will not worry about cruise control at all, because then you have to find another wire. I'm just gonna get rid of cruise control but for the actual brake pedal I will be needing. Yep. Obviously y'all want to go ahead and keep all your grounds, and then at the end do not cut or splice any of the wires. You gotta make sure everything's working right. For your, obviously for your coolant, like I was talking about earlier, you need a 3-wire prong, 1 extra wire, 2 for the LS harness and 1 for the actual gauge. Same thing for your oil pressure. You just want that straight going to the dash, not really to the PCM. Obviously this wire here is for your speedometer. Next up is AC. You want to make sure it knows when to turn on and off as well. So you just use the original R4 pancake dirty dingle mount bracket. There goes that. What else? Obviously you want to keep all your positives and negatives. Oh, and this right here is for the actual light coolant gauge right here. So this was going to be the extra wire and your 3-wire prong. That's what we got going on over here. Here's the ground for the, oh, this is the main ground for your battery. See, the main ground for the battery. This will have to go onto the block as well. Let's see, for your alternator, you need the alternator wire that comes to make it hot. Don't worry y'all, I will be going over it on the second video. Alright y'all, I did just went ahead and lay out the LS harness on here. Obviously this goes to the 411 PCM. You got your fuse block here, you got your ground. It also comes with the OBD2 port. Obviously has extra length to go into the cab. I'm gonna go ahead and set it off to the, just set off to the side, so when I start the engine, then not worry about, you know, making it look all nice, cutting it all up. For the meantime, I'm going ahead and mark all the wires. That's one thing I should have done. Like this is O2. See, this is for a oh, I see, this is for the injectors, coil pack. I'm gonna go ahead and mark the whole wire harness down, and then I'm going to show y'all what everything needed. For instance, here it goes behind the block, another ground. This I have no idea, so I'm going to mark everything. Obviously you need one for the alternator here, just a few things here and there. Alright y'all, today I have some time to go ahead and get this wire harness on. I went ahead and labeled all the sensors and everything, so I'm gonna start off with the alternator sensor. It's just this big fat plug with just 1 red wire. Start from here, loom it this way, and then start connecting. And obviously I do need to make a hole somewhere over here just so I can put the PCM and everything into the cab of the truck. It is a mess. I'm planning on just laying it. I hope I could put it into the glove compartment, but the problem with that is it is weak. I mean, I broke one of these already with just a few items in here. Let's see. Anyways, I forgot how to take it off, but for the most part, I'm gonna just try to just loom it through here, I guess, or just set it in here. But that's later on down the road. And now I'm gonna just try to, I guess, leave it over here with the PCM whenever I start it. Alright y'all, what the coil back bracket is, it has these little things where the old wire harness goes through, but you have to disconnect all the coil packs and everything. I just went ahead and just slide them in between the manifold and the coil bracket. Here's the end of the filler, here's the new wiring harness, here's the last injector for this side. Make sure you run it all the way down. Alright, so here's for the coil pack, and instead of going here, it just runs right in there. Obviously it's not going anywhere y'all, don't worry about it. So see how it fits right down there? That's the way I'm doing it. And here's all your front accessories. RC shaft 2 for your throttle body, 1 for your alternator, and that should get you going. Obviously you have your ICT, well, the evap. Obviously I'm not using that. So yeah, so far so good. Make sure your oxygen sensor is back here, your left hand. Should be this one, yeah. Left hand O2 sensor is basically driver's side, and your other one should be way over here with the starter. Right hand coil pack, obviously this loom right here goes on this side, and then also here's a long extension to go into the cab. I just went ahead and, this is for a dog crate or a bunny crate, so I just use that, set it all in here just for now. And obviously here's the 3 wires we're going to be using. Yeah, so far so good. All right, y'all, I will be running the eBay intake. I know it goes forward and comes over here, but I do have the AC unit and it will get hot, so instead I'm gonna run it over here this way, which is fine. I know a lot of people complain about the mass airflow sensor being too short and won't reach this way, but for my case, they went ahead and cut off the canister. I'm gonna just put a little filter on the canister. It used to be big plunk. I just cut it, trash, and it will run down here now. So with that being said, this will be fine. It'll be in this area. Always with the eBay intake, it's just one coupler that helps guide it. Instead of being over here, it just guides it down. Cut up the tube, get a 90, or I think it's a 45, one of those two. Just go ahead and, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, so far so good. Alright, so you got your IAC, TPS, these two go right here. Bam, bam. Alternator, bam. And this one's a ECT. I believe that one was for this one, but I'm not using it. But yeah, so far so good, y'all. I'm going to start working on the back. Before you start messing with anything in the back, be sure you go ahead and connect your coil pack just so the wire harness won't fall down. All right, y'all, after your O2 sensor, you have your ground right here. It is, that goes on the head, and right next to that should be the NOx sensors. Yep, NOx sensors. After that should be your cam, yes, cam sensor, which everything's back here. Let's see what's next. This I can go over. This long one should be your transmission stuff. Yes, VVS. For the OBS, this is why you want to keep your original harness. Keep it all, because if you want your speedometer to work, you have to cut and splice these two onto your existing harness. Okay, it should be 2 wires. Yes, you want to cut them, splice them to the same position as the old one. And obviously this is just plug and play. This goes on the driver's side. That's what this stuff is. And for your reverse lights to turn on during whenever you change the transmission into reverse, the one I have is broken. I will be replacing it. It goes in like this. You will be using these 2 original ones. Once you plug those in, your light, the little light indicator lamp will work, and when you put it into reverse, your reverse light works. So obviously see how the original transmission, here it is. Obviously, if you didn't see the video, I did blow mine up. It kind of went kaboom. So yeah, that's that. Your 460E, the newer ones should have this. And the VVS, obviously that part destroyed, blew up. This was what's left, but luckily I still have the sensor. Should be right over here. See how this one, the 95 and up, should have these, so they just plug right in. Oh, and be sure to keep your shift linkage. This I believe you're going to reuse. Alright, y'all, so I showed y'all the transmissions and everything that goes with it. Bam. Let's see what's next. Oh wait, hang on, I think I missed one. No, that's the cam. Let's see what's next. That's transmission. Okay, you got this big loom right here. That's for the driver's side, or for the handless harness, they say right hand side. So right hand side is passenger side. coil pack injectors, and here is the map sensor. This goes right over here on top of your manifold. This little guy right back here. Let's see what's next. Follow it back. We got 2 looms. Let's start off with the bigger one. Your starter. So on your starter, I do not have mine installed because I need to go to the junkyard, get the plate. I also need to get the plate for this side. You go ahead and put this on the positive, I believe, constant. And then let's see, what is this? Map sensor, back this way. Here it is. On the same lube, you should have the crank position sensor. So let's follow it back. Let's see what else we got going on. This should be your, yep, passenger side O2 sensor. And yep, that's everything on the harness, y'all. Nothing to stress about. So let's keep going. So you have this little grommet that you have to cut and drill. And let's go and talk about the wires you will need. Every harness should have 7 loose wires like this. It really doesn't matter if it's an eBay one, aftermarket one, as long as they're labeled. Don't trust the colors. Or if you do it yourself, then yes, off of I think it's ltswap.com. So next one, this purple wire is a TCC, and that goes to the purple wire here on your ABS. I believe it's this one. I'll be double checked. Don't worry, y'all, this is part 1. I will be doing a second video when a splicing cut. That basically turns, whenever you put your brake on the pedal, it sends a signal to turn to the transmission and turn off the torque converter. Next one is this one, the white one on the Chinese harness. Your tachometer, that will be on the original OBS harness, and it should be right, that's the new one. Oil pressure, if you want your oil pressure gauge on the OBS, you will need adapter, and you want to use the original OBS. Give me 1 second, y'all, while I find it. It should be from the coil pack for your tachometer. Oh, here it is. For your tachometer, it should be in the rear of the motor. It should be, this was just like this on some electrical tape. I believe the 454 motor is using, but the 305s or the 350 TBIs, they do not. So it's just taped up. You untape it and you use this wire. It should be a white wire. See that? This is connected. The motor's upside down. I just rolled it. So obviously it'll only be in the back of the engine, just chilling with some electrical tape. So that's this white one off the Chinese harness. Now we got this one, is the brown one, also known as your MLI wire. That you have to run to the dash, to your let's see, to, yeah, you run it to the dash. You take off your bezel, you take off the, you take off the bezel, you remove the dash, and there should be a brown wire as well behind it for your check engine light. You cut it and you splice it. The old one, you get rid of it. Also, you have your coolant wire, which should be one of these. This is your ECT for your coolant. You want to get an adapter for it. Obviously you want to get a 3-wire prong, 3-wire off of Camaro. They're pretty cheap. I know ICT Billet, Summit sells them. They're pretty cheap. You need to get your original from the OBS harness. That goes to the front end assembly. OBS. It is a single wire. I do have it marked, but from the original block, it has two sensors. One for the manifold. You do not use that one. You want to go ahead and use the one off the 305, 350 off the block itself. Cut it and splice it into the position where it doesn't go. I'll also show that. Let's see. Fuse block. These connect to the PCM. I'm using a 411. I will send it out to a guy on eBay who does tuning, which will flash it for me. A baseline tune, nothing serious. And this is key on. Obviously when the key turns on, that's where you want to mark it, which is plenty of areas to put it at. Yeah, this is just part one of the video, y'all. We'll be posting a second video after I'm done cutting and splicing everything, so I can run it over with y'all. So right now I'm going to go finish it up, placing the wire harness. All right, y'all. This on a new LS harness, it does not go on this side. Like I said, it goes on this side. Sorry about that. I should have noticed when I was messing with the transmission over there. It goes actually on the driver's side. This though does go on the this goes on the passenger side on the LS harness. This I'll have to cut all this, and this will go on the driver's side. Check out the, here's the original VVS. RC is all gunked up because transmission blew up. So you cut these two wires in the exact same position. Problem, I have no idea if it goes like this or like this, but I do have a trick to deal with that. And yeah, this is why you want to cut up your old harness to delume it. But at first I'm gonna just leave this hanging over there, away from the drive shaft though. And whenever I turn the key, make sure everything works, then I remove the wire harness, remove the OBS harness, and then cut and splice it into everything I need it to be. So far everything looks good. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the sensors. I do have new sensors. I have a new cam sensor, a new crankshaft sensor. Have to put those in. I should have done it when the motor was out, but I didn't. and I need to install the adapter for the oil. I also need to install the Camaro 3-wire and the 3-wire prong, and I need to find the wire, the single wire that goes to it from the OBS harness. Need to find that wherever it is, wherever that guy's hiding. Obviously, you want to use the oil pressure from the OBS. You don't have to use the new one. Another ground, whatever that is. This is from the OBS wiring harness. So what we got going on here? Got loose wires, more wires, grounds, another ground. Here it is, a coolant gauge right here. So this loom actually goes over this way. Yeah, this one little wire right here, green wire, goes to the old OBS. You want to hit that in the 3rd position of the 3-wire prong, and you get your coolant gauge to work. You can use E-fans with this harness. It's just, I'm gonna be running this just for now until I buy a new radiator, because here's the old one just been sitting out here. I'm not trusting it. I mean, for now I'll just run it. I do want a 454 radiator. I do have to paint that because it is rusty, so I'm gonna just primer it. Old condenser will work, the old bumper. Yeah, so far so good. That's expensive. The little plastic piece right there that goes in between the bumper and the bumper and the grill, that is expensive. So good thing I still have that. Yeah, so far so good. Appreciate everybody tuning in. The next video is going to be me actually cutting and splicing, but I'll do that at the end. I won't bore y'all with everything else. After I'm done cutting and splicing, I'll tell y'all everything I did. Alright y'all, let's go over all the sensors. This is part 2. If you want to go ahead and watch part 1, I went ahead and laid out the wire harness. Here in part 2, I'm going to go over everything I have in this box to make everything work. This is the new cam sensor. One second. Right off the bat, brand new cam sensor. Obviously you want to use the original, not the original harness, you want to use the LS harness so it can tell the computer what to do. Crank sensor. Obviously with this you want to let the computer know what the crank, what position it's in. Obviously this is a third gen with the different style reluctor wheel on the crank. Obviously 4th gens are different. Let's see, I'm gonna use a brand new filter. This is a fuel filter. Here's a part number from Napa. Obviously the older one's probably clogged up, and also I won't be running low octane fuel, I'll be running premium. And here's the Camaro 3-prong. You should see 3 prongs in there. This is AC Delco original part. There's a GM number right there, 12551708. Hang on, spider. Anyways, by AC Delco. Let's see what else. Here's the oil adapter you need. A lot of people do not know this. So if you thread this from the OBS sensor to the LS sensor, 2268, and is by Autometer. 2268 metric adapter. Don't forget to put that little ring in between, the crusher ring. This is for the oil gauge, so the oil gauge on the OBS will work. Obviously it won't be perfect, but it's something. Right, let's see what else we got going on. That's all the fuel system. Hang on. Down the road I'll be running this big one, but for now I'm gonna just run this to make sure everything works. But down the road when I run, because I am using the original LS lines, I mean not the LS lines, the original OBS lines, I'm gonna just use these adapters to make it work with the LS fuel roll. But down the road when I go with a different engine, or maybe that engine, I'll be running braided fuel lines, then I'll use this. But for the meantime, it's gonna be staying back. And here is the 3-wire that goes into the Camaro 3-wire prong. This is the prong actually. This was by ACT Billet. It was 3-wire coolant. Obviously, let's see. For this one, the green one goes with the OBS. Let's see. I'm gonna show y'all. Should be running with this part. Here it is. Obviously, coolant line should run with this green wire. You have to splice and cut. And for the LS harness, you have to cut and splice as well. And make sure it's in the same position. Let's keep going. Another arrow's fitting. None of that's used. Let's see. What is this? Oh, an extra ICT Delco. Yep, same part number. Just extra. Alright, let's go over this. This is what I'm excited about. It is my aeromotive fuel pump. Very fancy one. Obviously the GM drop-in. Reason why I'm running this one's because I don't want to take off the bed down the road. Basically, I don't want to run. I want a good quality one because I still need to take off the bed and drop this in. So that's gonna be fun. Now for the fuel rails, obviously here they are. Obviously the bigger sizes are for the feed and the smaller sizes are for the return. So here's the feed, I believe. One is the feed. Obviously this plugs into the fuel rail, the LS fuel rail. After that you will need 6 AN silver adapters, 6 AN female swivel. This one's by Earl. It is 915106 ELE. You will need 2 of them. Here's the part number for these 2. Dark. Hopefully y'all can see that. Hang on, let me change the battery. Alright y'all, I'm going to read it out. It is by Russell and it is 640860. Is a 6 AN male to 5/16 SAE QD female push on. And the other one is also by Russell. It is 640850. It is a 6 AN male to 3/8 SAE. Obviously the 6 AN males go to the swivels for both of these. And now this is the fun part. The 15 by 1.5 to 6 AN, obviously that threads onto the OBS lines, so you can use your original lines, your original fuel rails. And then here's the other one. It's an M14 by 1.5 to 6 AN. Here's the Summit number. It is by Summit. It's gonna be SUM-220628. The other one's gonna be SUM-220627B. And yeah, they should thread onto the original OBS lines. Let's see. These lines, obviously, yes, here they are. Obviously you want to make sure you don't cut them. You want to use these same little thread things that still have. If you can, try to push them to bend them to fit, but not so much. Let's hang on. I got the brake, this for the brake booster. It's in the way. Here it is. So let's see, it does have a bend here, so you can just bend it a little bit more. Obviously the bigger one is a feed, which goes directly to this bottom one. Hang on. This here is a feed, the top one, the bottom one's a return, which is very loose, but it should be fine. Alright y'all, when I got the fittings on, and all that's left is to bend them and go ahead and put in the push locks. Problem is that obviously they're not lining up with the fuel rail, so I have to bend it and twist them. See, no matter how I twist it, it still doesn't end up straight, so I have to make sure that they're both parallel. So this one does. Let's see, have to figure that away. Most likely bend this one upward and connect it. Looks like that's it. Oh yeah, I do have to figure out a way to make these fuel lines line up. I'll probably get my buddy Moses. He's a pretty strong dude. He'll probably be able to do it. I mean, it's not impossible, but it is doable. But yeah, I mean, they're just in a weird angle, so we have to figure something out to get that going. Obviously I need to leave these in a safe place. That should be fine. The next, alright y'all, let's see what's next. Let's go ahead and do the coolant sensor. Alright, so this should just fit onto the block. This should just plug in. The extra wire on this one, it is the green wire. So the green wire is the one that actually connects to the OBS harness, but I'll double check it. Alright y'all, so for the eBay Chinese harness, it is called the ECT. It is going to be the determine engine temperature, input engine temperature, something like that. So it is a ECT for your engine coolant, which is this one, which should be with your alternator. Alright, so your alternator should be one red wire, plugs right in, and obviously in the same loom, should be able to come across here. I'm gonna try to jam it in. Hang on. This. There it goes. Obviously, I'm gonna try to hook it up with this bolt here, and this should be on top. There it goes. So with your intake, and then your mass airflow and your intake temperature chilling over here on top of this loom comes in. If you want to, you could plug it, but the problem with that is that not only this one does not fit it. Look at that. Does not fit it because it is a 2-wire plong. So voila, we use this one, the 3-wire. Obviously when you cut and splice, see how this tab goes in on the top. Look, hang on, sorry about that. So see how this tab goes in from the top? The left wire is black, the right wire is yellow. It does not matter about the color, it matters about the position. So left is black, right is yellow. See how the clip is on top? Clip is on top. So the positioning goes like this. So here's a new wire. Clip is on top, and it looks like the left one on this one is gray. So black on this one goes with gray on the left, if you're looking at it this way, and the right one is yellow. And this one, the right one is yellow. So yellow. So for this setup, it is yellow. The one on the right goes onto yellow, which is top right. Left is black on here on the Chinese harness. On this new prong, it is going to be left black to up left gray, and this green one at the bottom is going to be for the OBS, on this OBS coolant temperature. So you cut and splice, and not only does the does the PCM get to know how hot the engine is, but also your dash. Alright y'all, now since we got the coolant out of the way, just gonna put this up. Next up is gonna be the oil gauge. Obviously with this one you want to use the original OBS oil gauge, which should be right here. You also need the outlet that screws into here as well, which should have came with the OBS. So let me go look for that. Alright y'all, here's the Automato 2268. Comes with the crusher. So right behind the block it goes crusher, then it goes the actual adapter. So crusher, adapter, and this should have came off the OBS. This is why you want to keep everything. So this screws onto the top of here, and then after it screws onto the top, you use the OBS sensor. You could get a new one. I'm gonna reuse it because it did work. Once it's in, then you use your original OBS. This is an OBS harness, right? This is the new harness. It's all shiny. The old one, the dusty one, it's full of oil. You want to use the original OBS harness pressure, oil pressure gauge. Now you can use the oil pressure off the dash. Yeah. Bam. So here's the oil crusher. It should come with the kit, the adapter, the OBS oil sender, then the OBS. You might want to get a new one. I'm gonna get a new one. But for the meantime, we'll just set it up, make sure everything's all good. Alright y'all, now since I got the coolant, not the coolant, the oil pressure gauge over there. Obviously I still have it here. I went and put on this loom for the AC. Leave it here. That same loom should have the ground as well as the coolant temperature gauge. Obviously I'm gonna run it over just so I can splice it into those wires. Sit it here. Alright y'all, so now I have it laid out. This comes across. Do have this loose wire here. I believe it goes to the starter, just because of that little plug. Yeah, this definitely went to the starter, I could tell. So that, because it's right over there. Now let's talk about the transmission. This is just one big loom I'm noticing for the transmission. I will need these for the neutral safety switch, but I also need this, which is a VVS, or a speedometer, which tells dash how fast it's going. So we have to cut and splice that into the VSS for the new harness as well, so it can tell the computer how fast it's going. Problem is that when I connect these two on the side transmission, will this reach? Because I'm not trying to cut this up anytime soon, you know, I'm trying to leave it all together. My plan is, sorry about that, my plan is to run this underneath the transmission if I can. So if I could run this underneath the transmission, get away from the drive shaft, then I'll be fine, because it is on the driver side. So I have to come underneath, cut, splice. But yeah, so first I'm gonna try to get this going. I do need to lift the truck more. I can't fit, I could barely fit underneath, so I just set it on top here for now, but I'm gonna have to lift it up just so I can work underneath. Get that on, plug this in, then go ahead and get this sensor going. I'm surprised it even stayed on after the transmission grenaded. Over here, obviously you just have injectors, coil pack, plug those in. Double check, nozzle check, camshaft sensor. I do need the bolt for the ground, so I need to go to junkyard, get the bolt for the cam position sensor and the ground, so I need to go to junkyard, get those two. I need to go to junkyard and get the longer wire, the auto cable off a Vortec or a 99 and up drive-by wire, drive-by cable. See how it barely fits, does not reach, so I need to get another one. Cruise control, won't need it. If you want to, obviously you need to find a cruise control, one with cruise control, and thread it onto here. See, it has a thread just extended, and here's this needs to wrap around here, and there's a bolt, not a bolt, but where it latches on right here, so you know when you step on the pedal, opens it up and goes. Obviously this is for the light on the hood. I still have it, so obviously even the crowd hood has a light, so that's what that's for. Obviously you should have this big loom coming across this right here. This is for your power, for your ABS. All this is over here is for the lights. Use more lights. This long one here obviously goes through the cross member. Goes through the cross member to get the driver side lights. So yeah, so far so good. I need to switch out the crank position sensor. It's in there, so I need to figure out how to do that. I already have the headers installed, and another doozy is trying to get that starter in. Have to lift up the truck pretty high, and obviously the truck is high enough as it is, but it looks like I gotta do more. My plan is to not only use jack stands, but to use the engine hoist, and I have no idea how I'm gonna do this. I'll probably just grab it from the sway bar, but I'll figure something out how to lift the whole truck